Welcome to my GSPN Live. You're here with your host, Robert Brown. As you can see, I'm alone today. Colleague's under the weather a little bit, but we wish him the best in recovery, but the show must go on. So we'd like to thank our sponsor, Garden Grocer, for our opportunity. If you're in the Orlando Disney Resort area, go to www.gardengrocer.com, get an order, create an order, and we'll be there to deliver it to you, at your resort at the time of your arrival. Makes it a lot easier for you. You can order snacks, drinks, food, dinner, and just to enjoy more of your time out with the kids, out with the family. We make your life a little bit easier. So go to www.gardengrocer.com, place your order, and we'll have it there for you. So let's jump into it. As we told you, high school sports are kind of getting to an end, so we'll touch on Florida baseball a little bit. We have a few scores from Final Four games that happened on May 30th, which was on Wednesday. So for 6A, Clay lost to Jefferson 7-2, and Barron Collier lost to Merritt Island 8-2. In 7A, we go Pace beating Lido 5-3, and Vince beating Doral Academy 11-1. That means we have some state championship games lined up for you for 6 and 7A for today on the 31st. Jefferson versus Merritt Island will be at 4 p.m. and Pace versus Venice will be at 7:35. If you can catch those games, please do. Again, they're championship games. These kids work their entire lives to get to this point. I never made a high school state championship game in the time that I played, so these are accomplishments these kids will be able to look back on for forever. So if you're in the area, please go catch those games. Some other games happening today that aren't championship games but are part of the Final Four we told you about the other day is 5A, Bowles versus Nature Coast, which happened at 10 a.m. We don't have the score for that yet, but we will be updating our website and updating that for you, as well as Avon Park versus Monsoorn Pace. That game was held at 1 o'clock today. We'll have that updated for you on our website as soon as the show is over, and we can do that for you. There's a few games that are going to be happening on the 1st. So tomorrow, 8A and 9A games. Strawberry Crest versus Sarasota at 10 a.m. George Jenkins versus St. Thomas Aquinas at 1 p.m. So those will be your 8A Final Four. And for 9A Final Four, you've got Dr. Phillips versus Timber Creek at 4 p.m. and Jupiter versus Columbus at 7 p.m. Again, those are Final Four games. The winner of those games will move on as soon as the weather permits again to play in state championship games. Now we're sticking baseball, but take our look around the country as we do every show, and we're gonna look at 3 different states and their baseball championships. So Alabama has a few different classifications, kind of like Florida. Not as many, and they're set up a little differently between their private and their public schools. But we'll jump into it with 7A. Auburn defeated Hewitt Trustville 4-1 in their championship game to be the 7A champs in Alabama. 6A, Hazel Green is your state champions now. 5A, Faith Academy out of the Mobile area, they're now your state champs. Andalusia, a 4A school, is your state champs in that classification. 3A is Mobile Christian again from the Mobile area. 2A is Long from Skipperville, and 1A is Sweetwater. So again, those are kind of your public high schools throughout the Alabama area. Some of your more private high schools, the AAA is Pike Liberal from the Troy area where Troy University is. They have the AAA state title now. Macon East Montgomery Academy has the AA state title, and Single A goes to Eastwood Christian from the Montgomery, Alabama area. So congratulations to all those schools and the champions from Alabama. We go to a smaller state. I'll catch my breath a little bit being able to talk about these schools. It's Arizona. So we try to grab a few of the schools, in alphabetical order, some of the bigger ones we could touch on. For Conference 6A, O'Connor from Phoenix. We've talked about this team in baseball already and their dominance. Jose being in an earlier show talking about their dominance throughout the years. So we see that continuing. They're from the Phoenix area. They defeated Mountain Ridge from Glendale 7-1 in the championship game. Conference 5A, Liberty has the championship. Conference 4A, Nogales is your champion. 3A is Sabino. 2A is Phoenix Christian, which we've also talked about a little bit on the show. Baghdad is your Conference 1A champs, defeating Superior 10-0. Now we move again into the private schools of Arizona. Your Division 1 is Gila Bend, and your Division 2 champions is American Leadership Academy from the Gilbert area. So congratulations to those kids. And our last state we'll touch on is another large state, but it's kind of our neighboring state. They're adjacent to us, Georgia. There's a lot of schools here, so let me make sure I get these schools right and the classifications right. But Parkville starts off with your 7A state championship, beating Mill Creek. 6A is Pope from the Marietta area. 5A is Logansville. 4A is Jefferson. 3A is Lovett from the Atlanta area. From the Savannah area, winning the 2A championship is Benedict. 1A public is Gordon Lee. 1A private as Tottenham Square Academy. Sticking with the privates now, in the AAA classification, it is Trinity Christian. In the AA, it is Piedmont Academy. In Division 1, it is Calvary Christian. Not the Florida Calvary Christian we told you about last show. And Division 2A is Peachtree Academy. And Division 2 AA is the King's Academy from the Woodstock area. It's a lot of schools there, but we wanted to try to touch and talk about all of them just a little bit and really show, the appreciation for these kids for working so hard throughout the year and getting to these state championship games. We'd like to take a quick break, have a little word from our sponsor. Welcome back. We're going to transition from our amateur high school sports into more amateur collegiate sports for now. The NCAA College World Series is among us. Right now we've got some regional games going on and a few Florida schools who are actually going to be able to host some regional tournaments. Let's start off with maybe the best team, if not the country, but definitely our state right now, and UF. They will, it's my favorite school in the state. They will host NCAA regional Friday, June 1st at 12 p.m. They are playing Columbia from New York City. This is the team that's usually, Columbia is known more for their academics, their law school, that type of thing, but they've made it to this NCAA regional, so congratulations to them, but I don't think they get past the powerhouse that is the University of Florida. They are, loaded with talent all over the place, from all over the country, but specifically from the Central Florida area. Sophomore Garrett McLean, infielder, he also pitches, is from the First Academy in the Windermere area. Deacon Lifoot, an infielder, went to Oviedo High School. From Edgewater High School, a catcher, Jonah Grennan. Then Olympia, Michael Byron, a right-handed pitcher. Another right-handed pitcher, Hunter McMullen from Ocala Forest. Another right-handed pitcher from Eustis is Brandy Singer. And an outfield, another pitcher, also from Ocala Forest, is Kirby McMullen. So, Kirby and Michael, or Kirby and Hunter, assuming they're brothers, I don't want to say that they are, but, both of them being from Ocala Forest, both of them pitching, freshman and sophomore. Florida kept local area talent, from Oviedo, Ocala Forest, Edgewater. These big high schools that you've known about in all sports, really, kept them in area, and that's beautiful to see as these guys going to, hopefully schools that they wanted to play growing up. They grew up watching Florida football, Florida baseball, Florida basketball. They were winning championships, and they wanted to go to those schools, and now they're there to hopefully win championships. Another school with the all-time winningest coach in Division I baseball history, Florida State. They'll also host a regional on June 1st, and they'll play the Sanford Bulldogs. I've got a little bit of a history with Sanford, being that I went to University of Alabama, Birmingham, and Sanford being there We got to scrimmage against each other a little bit, played pickup. So I wish them all the luck. Also, being a huge Florida fan, I grew up not being a Florida State fan. So, I hope Sanford can get this upset. But Florida State, they have so much talent and, again, so much local talent where you hope these kids play fantastic. But, I'm not a Florida State fan. Just to talk about their talent, Jackson Lewick, an outfielder from Orangewood Christian. Andrew Karp, a right-handed pitcher from West Orange. Drew Mendoza, infielder who I know a little bit. My little brothers played high school basketball with him at Lake Mineola High School, a Claremont team, a Mineola team from right here where we do our show. Trinity Prep's Jarrett Heron, an outfielder, and Windermere Prep, Chase Hanley, a right-handed pitcher. So Florida State doesn't have as much talent, or local talent, as Florida does. Their ranking so far this year, that might, lead to why Florida is ranked a little bit higher. They have a little bit more of our local talent that they were able to keep in the area. But either way, both teams are playing fantastic baseball and get to host regional tournaments this year with the chance to go to that College World Series. The last team we'll talk about is Stetson. Stetson doesn't get a lot of love within the sports world because you have Miami, Florida, Florida State, and even USF and UCF being so dominant within the past couple years. But Stetson will host their first ever NCAA regional tournament for this College World Series. So congratulations to them and the kids that have been playing there. They also, on June 1st, they'll play at 7 p.m. versus the Hartford Hawks. They've only got 3 players kind of from the local area. Kirk Sidewell, an outfielder from Olympia. D. Shelton, an infielder from West Orange. And Logan Gilbert, a right-handed pitcher from Wekiva. We've talked about Logan a few times on this show, with Jose being good friends with him, having played with him. So we wish him the best of luck going out and moving on into this tournament. We'll transition into soccer. We've talked about Real Madrid a lot recently because of their recent dominance, but right now they're in the news for, kind of shaking up something that's worked. And usually people say if it's not broke, don't fix it. Real Madrid definitely wasn't broke, whether that's them winning games or monetarily being one of the biggest clubs in the world. But they definitely, they have some things that have changed and recently since they won that championship. Their leader, their coach, Zinedine Zidane, out of nowhere really has quit from Real Madrid. They've announced that he will be moving on. This comes on the heels of him being the first coach to ever win 3 Champions League championships in a row. Again, we told you other clubs have won 3 in a row, but no coach has won the 3 in a row. He's got his 3 Champions League titles, 2 UEFA Super Cups, 2 Club World Cups with Madrid, 1 La Liga title, and 1 Spanish Super Cup. So he leaves in his a little over 2 years. A little under 2 full years. He leaves with 9 championships and really shakes up, a team where we didn't think would be seeing a move like that. Now, one move we did think might happen. Cristiano Ronaldo made some remarks following the Champions League championships that has, his fans and Real Madrid fans a little scared. Will he move on? Will he stay? We don't know, and we are really, really excited to hear about that. Benzema might also leave with the departure of Zidane. And Manchester United wants Christian Bale, especially after the fantastic performance he put on in the Champions League final, winning man of the match there. I personally, this is just me talking, don't quote me or do. I think Zidane will go to PSG. I think Ronaldo may also move on to PSG. I know a lot of people don't think that. I personally think he should make a trip to the MLS, go to Orlando City, go to a Miami team, and we can get one there, kind of bring a little more, that international talent and flavor over to American soccer so we can develop this game, the beautiful game that it is. Our last sport to talk about, my favorite sport, is basketball. We have the Cavs versus Warriors, Volume 4. I don't know if you're excited. I know a lot of people are talking about this situation, kind of like the Buffalo Bills when they went to 4 straight Super Bowls. People kind of got bored of seeing that same team do it, but if you can't beat them, they deserve to be here. I'm excited to see LeBron represent his legacy again, represent the Cavs in Cleveland the way he's been doing it, kind of carrying this team. I could see him averaging a 50-point triple-double throughout the playoffs, winning NBA Finals MVP, and getting this series to at least 5 games. Warriors will still win it. LeBron might win 1 game. They've got so much firepower, and if last game is any indication, they're finally starting to click. They're getting back to sharing the ball, averaging 30 assists a game. So, if they can continue on this upward trend they were on from Game 6 and Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, even with LeBron playing like this, he might get them to win 1 game, but this series, in my opinion, will be over no more than 5 games. Well, we thank you for tuning in. Any student athlete that wants to be featured on our show, anybody that wants to be featured at all, please send us in videos at myGSPN.com. We want to thank Garden Grocer again. Again, if you're in that Orlando Disney Resort area, send us in, go online to www.gardengrocer.com, create an order, and we'll have whatever you want, snacks, food, drinks, anything delivered to your resort at the time of your arrival. Save time, money, energy, and let us do the mundane housework for you that we can. We thank you all for tuning in. We encourage all student athletes to go to myGSPN.com and sign up for a player profile page and follow us on all our social media so we can interact with you. Again, Monday is going to be a time where we start diving into the World Cup and getting on our World Cup covering players and different teams and different topics going on. So we'll be updating our website, and we'll be talking on our show more about the World Cup coming up starting on this Monday. We'll be back tomorrow with more news, highlights, and updates, so we'll see you there. Thank you.